Bacteria and viruses can be frozen for millions of years and still be viable and contagious. And if they have never encountered mankind before, the results will be most disastrous. This is why scientists are anxiously awaiting the opportunity to study which pathogens are lurking in the permafrost, which is now gradually melting day by day. 2. One of the reasons crows and ravens are associated with death is that they often followed armies as they went into battle. Being extremely intelligent scavenger birds, they understood. A large group of armed men marching in the same direction meant that a meal of corpses would soon await the birds. 3. The smell of a freshly mowed lawn is actually a chemical distress signal emanating from the grass during mowing. 4. Female mummies in ancient Egypt were always more decomposed than male ones. The reason is that male bodies were embalmed much earlier than female bodies. Women's bodies were kept in the house until they began to decompose to avoid necrophilia from the embalmers. 5. The bottom of Lake Superior is so cold that the bodies of dead sailors do not decompose. Instead, they receive a covering of fatty tissue. The liquid body fat solidifies, enveloping them in a cocoon of sorts. 6. The blobfish looks like a normal fish in its natural habitat, but lives so deep underwater that it does not use its normal swim bladder to keep its balance in the water column. Its role is played by a spongy skin, slightly less dense than the water, which gets damaged and bloated when fishermen lift it up too quickly. So it's not really the ugliest fish. It's just that rising to the surface for it is like going into outer space without a spacesuit for a human. The difference between the pressure at sea level and at a depth of more than a kilometer, where it lives, is about 60 atmospheres, and at the surface it just slowly bursts. 7. Rosemary Kennedy was the sister of John F. Kennedy. At birth she suffered from oxygen deprivation, which slowed her mental development. Development. Fearing that her behavior would jeopardize his political career, her father, Joseph, decided to give his daughter a lobotomy. Her mother, Rosa, was against it and forbade him to do so. However, Joseph arranged for the operation behind her back as she traveled. After the surgery, Rosemary's already low IQ declined even further, so much so that she could no longer walk or communicate. Her family placed her in an orphanage and effectively disowned her. They never visited her and never again acknowledged her existence publicly. Rosemary died at the age of 86. Her mother never forgave her husband for what he had done. 8. If you get the wrong type of blood when you get a transfusion, one of the symptoms is a feeling of impending doom. 9. Crocodiles can gallop like horses. Fortunately, alligators can't. 10. If the sun were to explode right now, you would be blissfully unaware of it for 8 minutes while the energy moved toward you at the speed of light.